Welcome to the 29th Annual National Veteran Wheelchair Games Rolling on the River, co-presented by the Paralyzed Veterans of America and Department of Veteran Affairs. Thanks for joining us here on xable.com. I'm Ben Pearson, and we're here at the Spokane Gun Club for the trap shooting match. We're just now entering the second round of action. Let me give you a chance to introduce you to my co-commentator, color commentator, Andy Krager, who is the Director of Sports and Recreation with PVA. Now, for these athletes to qualify for the second round, what kind of performance did they have to have in the first round?
Well, thanks, Ben, and welcome to our audience. The competitors here that we're going to see shortly have competed in an initial round earlier this afternoon where they each shot 50 targets. They had to shoot at least 25 of them to qualify for the second round, and these are the ones that did that, and this is the competition that we're seeing right now.
So this is kind of wrapping up days long with events, and shortly after this, the medals will be awarded, and it's based on, basically, if you shoot the most, you're going to get the highest medal.
Exactly. These you'll see scores out of the 100 total targets that they shoot at. There'll be people shooting at a rate of at least 90-some%. So although this is an introductory level event, Ben, some of these shooters are actually quite proficient in trap shooting.
And the squad we are going to be focusing on today features George McGinnis, Rick Messer, and Larry Binger with Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of the new and the old. It's originally an interesting story our audience might find interesting is that we have a Rick Messer, who is a novice participant this year, who recently was injured in Iraq and Afghanistan combat. And ironically enough, we have one of our oldest competitors, Kenny Rogers, who is a World War II competitor. So it's a wide range of level of competitors today, Ben.
And as they will each take shot at 50 birds, they go one at a time, and then they shoot 10 at each station before moving on.
That's correct. As you might notice that the competitor will ready himself for the target, and then he will yell "pull," and you'll see that there's a voice-activated mechanism that will release the bird, which is the clay target that they shoot at, and that will come out of the target house. So they'll yell "pull," the bird comes out, and hopefully they'll be able to shoot it with their 12-gauge shotgun.
As you see, Messer connect on that shot. Messer's in the orange. I'm about to shoot here is Larry Binger.
Yeah, I understand Larry Binger hails from Delaware, Maryland, and he's been coming to the games for quite a long time as well.
Binger also competing in bowling and archery. As you see, Rogers getting ready to shoot.
Kenny Roger, earlier this year, his PVA chapter that he's a member of, the Nevada PVA chapter, hosted a trap shoot tournament on the 13th annual National Trap Shoot Competition circuit that PVA annually sponsors. So he's no stranger to trap shooting, that's for sure.
See, Messer misses on that. Yeah, Rogers from Las Vegas, Nevada, World War II veteran. In these, this is 16th time being a part of the National Veteran Wheelchair Games. He's also competing in air guns, the 100-yard backstroke, the 100-yard freestyle and swimming, as well as the discus and the track and field events. I see him getting ready to.
And he connected on that. It's interesting that trap shooting is an event that is only in its second year of medal status for the wheelchair games. We have 17 different medal events that the athletes, competitors can participate in. And prior to it becoming a medal event, there were a series of exhibition events that trap shooting was held at the wheelchair games. So it's got to a popularity rate that it was that we decided to make it a medal event. So, and I guess coincidentally, the military veterans are all quite adept in using a firearm, so it's a highly popular event for our competitors,
yeah,
who are all disabled military veterans.
Yeah, I'd say it's a bit surprising that it wasn't a medal event sooner, because this is certainly a sport or skill that they are talented in just coming from the service, whereas some of the other events that we've seen people participating in is something that take more work, and a lot of these with trap shooting, something you're probably going to be able to pick up right after leaving the service.
Exactly. Some of those skills transfer over as they did to the air gun competition. So now this is the second event that uses a gun of some sorts in the actual competition.
And athletes at these National Veteran Wheelchair Games are able to compete in 5 events, and many are choosing to do the air gun and the trap shooting.
Air gun is a very popular event at the Wheelchair Games, along with bowling. Those 2 events, for whatever reason, our participants participate those at a higher rate than any other 17 medal events. And each year we also try to introduce at least one exhibition event. This year's exhibition event is going to be a golf clinic that is actually held earlier today, I think 11 or 1 o'clock, and I'm not sure if we got any coverage of that tonight, Ben. Maybe you can comment on that.
Yeah, we were there earlier at Esmeralda Golf Course, and for a lot of disabled athletes, they haven't had a chance to get out on the golf course. A lot of require these adaptive chairs, which not many golf courses around the nation are able to support that for disabled people. But there was about 8 chairs out there this morning at Esmeralda Golf Course, and some pros and instructors helping people get used to the chair, and they kind of get strapped in, and depending on their leg function, some will put their weight on their leg, others will just be completely held up by the strap. But it's good to see some people get a chance to do an event they probably weren't able to do since their accident.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, like most sports, you need to develop the technology somehow to let that person with the disability to accommodate them to participate in the event. So certainly you're seeing that with the golf, that the technology is getting the people out on the golf courses now.
And if you're interested in checking out exactly how those adaptive chairs work, that will be available along with this trap shooting event on xable.com.
And in light of that, I mean, the neat thing about trap shoot, Ben, is that actually I can shoot with my able-bodied counterpart. I don't need any special accommodation. I use the same shotgun that he uses, a 12-gauge shotgun. The target comes out same for him as it does I, and it all depends on just how skilled you are and able to shoot those clay pigeons coming out of that target house. So there's Rick Messer knocking one out of the air there.
And trap shooting, I'd say that and hand cycling would be the ones that where disabled people can compete on the same level of playing field as able-bodied. See the people there in the white shirts are the volunteers. Over 3,000 volunteers from the Spokane area have come out to help put on the 29th National Veteran Wheelchair Games.
Yes, I've been doing this now for 16 years, Ben, and the level of volunteer support this year in Spokane has been unbelievable. They come out of the woodworks. Everybody's more than willing and able to give a helping hand, and you'll see each one of these competitors has at least one person to help them in the event that they'll need some help in shooting there, either unloading the gun, handing them the ammunition, or helping them with water or a towel or whatever.
See Rick Messer getting set, and he gets that.
He gets another one, so he's definitely has this trap shooting well versed with this. So one of the interesting things is that our viewers might not see or be on the camera here is the lady who's behind the competitors who's actually scoring the event, and her name is Vanessa Warner, and she's from the National Rifle Association. And the Paralyzed Veterans of America is working very closely with the national governing bodies of shooting, in this case the American Trap Shooting Association and the National Rifle Association, to work cooperatively together to put on these events for the disabled. So that's an interesting byproduct of the National Veterans Wheelchair Games.
So this group of 4 we're currently watching is called a squad, and there's usually 5, but the other competitor who was supposed to be there, Sean Wallace, didn't think they had enough to qualify for the second round, and they left. So an open spot here.
And he's going to miss out on a potential prize, and that's too bad, because I know these guys enjoy shooting, and there must have been some miscommunication somewhere on that. So typically what you would see 5 shooters standing up there in the 5 different positions, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you would shoot either 5 in each position and move to the next spot, or in this case we're shooting 10 from each position. It's really dependent on the format of the trap facility, how big of the space they have, and what their time requirements are. So here you'll see them moving to the next position where they'll shoot 10 more.
And that's what they'll do now, as all of them are moving down one, as we see Larry Binger going back to the first position.
It's quite a beautiful day out here, Ben. It's, the targets are very easy to see coming out of the house. Those are some of the things that, as a trap shooter, that you look for, is that what are the weather conditions? Is there a lot of wind? Is it raining out? All those things you have to deal with. Where is the sun? The shadows, those kinds of things. You'll notice that some of the shooters have glasses, specially designed shooting glasses, where they can cut down on the glare for the target. They wear these binders on their eyes so they don't, the peripheral vision, they're narrowly focused on that target coming out of the house, so they can better focus on it and hopefully knock it out of the air. A little bit warmer here than I was expecting. Coming from Virginia, we get the heat, but it's usually accompanied with humidity. But out here, don't have the humidity, but it's certainly warm this afternoon.
Yeah, and then as the games got going on Monday, we were met by a little rain, but this is what we've had the last 2 days, more typical weather for Spokane in the summer. Hot and dry. Had temperatures in the 90s today, and it should be continuing to do that on Friday and Saturday when these games wrap up.
It's very, very dry out here.
Whenever you're ready. I'm going to go back out there whenever you're ready, just end, and then just come get me.
So lets that bird fall to the ground.
The interesting thing, Ben, about the trap shooting is, again, it's a sport that anybody can really get involved and be introduced to. It's a fun sport to participate in. It takes a lot to master it. It's easy to do it, but it takes a lifetime to master. And but it's really something fun. It's exhilarating to shoot that 12-gauge shotgun and at the target. And I would encourage everybody to give it a try. There's youth leagues, there's women, and certainly men's leagues. So,
as we see Messer get ready, hails from Phoenix City, Alabama,
just knocked another one out of the air.
and we sure haven't seen him miss much thus far. As Larry Binger gets ready.
Okay, what happened? There was a misfire out of the trap house where one of the targets blew up before it even came off the thrower. So he'll have a chance to see another target, and hopefully they can get the targets flying out and they're solid. So it looks like they cleared the machine, and they're going to give it another try, and there it goes, and Larry knocks it out of the air.
Larry Binger from Newark, Delaware, 63 years young, also competing in bowling and archery. As Rogers connects on that. So you mentioned earlier this is more of the introductory level of competition. How many of these athletes, maybe not necessarily in this squad, but out of the 40 plus that are competing in this, how many are preparing for this year round, or for more, is it just an added event? Because you can't compete in 5 here.
In general, we have about 505 or so participants for the National Veterans Wheelchair Games, and we're looking at around 40 to 50 participants that signed up to participate in this event. In general, there's about a third of these participants that are novice participants, those people that have never competed in a wheelchair competition before.
A lot of those.
And that's really the focus of this, Ben. I mean, we want to introduce the novice to something new, an activity that they hopefully can compete in and succeed in, feel confident, and that kind of competition and kind of success carries over to other aspects in their life, and the rehabilitation process gives them confidence to move on to other things. So that's what it's all about. It's interesting, we don't have any women in this squad, and I'm not even sure if we have any women competing in the trap shooting today, because out of the 500 or so women each year, we only have about 50 women that compete in the National Veterans Wheelchair Games. So that's an interesting demographic too, for our audience to consider. And it speaks a little bit about the nature of spinal cord injuries and traumatic injuries in general. Males are more risk takers than women, and as a result, they're the ones that disable themselves at a greater rate than women do. Motorcycle accidents and car accidents and gun accidents and those kind of things.
As you see Rogers getting ready. And he connects on that. McGinnis too. Now Rick Messer in the orange, he recently injured in Iraq, and his trip here was funded by the Air Compassion for Veterans, based out of Georgia, which offers free air transportation for veterans so they can better complete their medical recovery from injuries.
Yeah, that's an interesting organization. Actually, the Paralyzed Veterans have partnered up with Air Compassion for Veterans to help fund some of these individuals to participate in the wheelchair games. So a nice little story there for Rick Messer.
I remind you, this event and all of the National Veteran Wheelchair Games are being co-presented by the Paralyzed Veterans of America, as well as the Department of Veteran Affairs. And here on xable.com, with Ben Pearson alongside me is Andy Krager, and not just trap shooting, but xable has been covering numerous events ranging from billiards to air guns, weightlifting, basketball, rugby. So go ahead and check those out. They're archived and can be watched at any time. Now in some of the other competitions, other events, medals are based amongst classification and as well as division. Is that the same in trap shooting?
Yeah, it really is. It's not all identical. It all depends if a certain class or a certain division has a competitive aspect to it. Whenever that is the case, they'll divide it up on divisions, where you have the masters, you have the open or the novice division. There's 3 divisions. There's various classes based upon your level of function on your disability. You have your amputees, you have your paraplegics, you have your quadriplegics, and then of course you have the gender classification, male or female. So all those things are considered when they're giving away medals. They want to make sure people are competing between like groups and amongst their peers.
So Rogers, at the age of 83, I said earlier, it's his 16th year being part of these National Veteran Wheelchair Games. And him, like so many other athletes, talk about the camaraderie here and how that is what they most look forward to at these games.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, Kenny Rogers, quite a story there. I mean, obviously he's not a novice participant at that age, although he could be, but that's not the case here. And he really provides a mentoring role for some of these novice participants, for them to come here and to see somebody who's had a spinal cord injury for 20, 30, 40, maybe in 50 years. It's quite inspiring to to these novices, and again, it's a kind of a mentoring relationship that they develop, and a lot of these guys come back each year and serve that role, and people plan their vacations around the wheelchair games, and they bring their family, they bring their friends, and they come and see their competitors each year.
And this year the games return to the state of Washington for the first time since 1996, when Seattle, Washington hosted the event. Spokane has been preparing to host this weeks-long of events since for the past 2 years now, and I mentioned earlier, volunteers help out with this as well as sponsors, and places like this is Spokane Gun Club earlier, Esmeralda Golf Course, Whitworth University held the swimming, and as Spokane Convention Center has been a bit of the headquarters for these events. But it takes a lot of help from a lot of different people to put on an event of such grand scale.
That's for sure. It's going to be exciting next year. We're moving the 30th National Veterans of Wheelchair Games to Denver, Colorado, and anybody who's been in that area is certainly a beautiful place to be and enjoy. So I know the athletes are looking for that, and just a little information, in 2011 we're going to go back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so lots in store for the National Veterans Wheelchair Games over the next couple of years or so.
Beautiful day here out in Spokane, Washington. Not a cloud in the sky, just a very, very slight breeze. We see the athletes move on to the next station.
Yeah, the breeze really hasn't seemed to be too much of a factor for the competitors today. Sometimes the wind can make those birds fly all kinds of different angles, so thankfully that's not the case today. This is kind of the walk of the wheelchairs here, the dance of the wheelchairs. They're trying to orchestrate their movement through the various shooting positions.
I want to thank you for joining us here on xable.com for this broadcast of trap shooting. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will interview some of these shooters that we've been witnessing. Once again, thanks for watching. This is xable.com.